It's 9:19. You can't see that. Why would I try to show you? You can't see that. It's 9:19. You can see that a little better. I plan to start this a little closer to 9. In my defense, I walked my dog. So, welcome to 24-hour reading vlog. You may be going, bitch, why the fuck are you doing this again? Which I say valid, but it's been about a year from your seeing this. Since the last time I did one of these, cause I guess it's just a thing. I do them for the fish, the stingray, Bessie, my co-podcast person's birthday, cause I love them. Good times. Also they make wild thumbnails for them, so it's gonna be an experience. So that's what this is. That's gonna happen. I'm literally gonna start once I tell you a few books that I have an idea of reading. There is a little issue, which I also am planning to do. I think it comes out before this. 100 book of the year reading vlog, where I just read the 100th book of the year. For me, I'm currently at 94. But this is like the day I know I can film this. So let's hope I don't read more than 5 books. I won't say 25, more than 5 books. I think I'll be fine. If I remember, my average is around 4 or 5 each time, so it's okay, right? I don't plan to, that was a great sound. I don't plan to finish it, but I'm in the middle of this. I did just put the dust jacket on. I'm 45% of the way through. I started this in the fishing series vlog that went up in July. As I'm filming this, the day it goes up. So funny. It is very much slow. I forget that her books are very slow, but it takes a long time where she sets up the romance, right? So while I'm in my romance era, I wasn't really feeling it because of that. And also, I'm not feeling the romance in general. Like, I know it's setting up for them to end up together, right? Because it's a romance. My current thoughts are, no, girl, continue your plan to run away from him. So that's good. I don't plan to finish it. I would like to get 2/3 of the way through, so about 20%. But I don't plan to finish it because I'm trying to slowly take my time with it, because I know that will make me enjoy it more. I would like to know, my favorite parts have been the parts where Valentine and Lucy from Rogue of One's Own are in it, because that's my favorite book in the series. It's so good. Similar vein. Not the whole thing. We're not going to talk how warped it got in the humidity of my house. The way I realized I need 2 free hands to hold this up, because I'm only going to read one specific story in here. It's technically a novella, which is Miss Warren's Secret History. In the same vlog, I read Wax and Wayne books 1, 2, and 3, because I don't own the 4th one, right? If I owned the 4th one, 100% would. But I am planning, when you are seeing this, there's a good chance I know I'm going to be on vacation. That's when it goes up. But I will have already read the 4th one. And I know there's a novella, a secret history that goes in between. And this is the only time I can read it. So that's when I'm reading it. I put a postcard from Bestie, who I'm going to visit, to show off how much this is. Do you see this madness? Yeah. I don't... 195 to 300 something, 313, 14, something like that. So, over 120 pages for that one novella. Good times. We love that. Other things, I don't want to do too many podcast books. I like major, but there are 2 that I'm definitely going to do, or at least try to do one of them most definitely, which is Severance. I have the audiobook from Hoopla. It's gonna be returned tomorrow, so I gotta read it today. Which isn't too long, but because I'm also gonna be taking notes, it should take me longer than I expect, so that's fine. That's everything. I think those are all the books that are currently on the priority list for me. Right? Severance first. I think I want to read some of the Portrait of Scotsman the first thing this morning, and then I'll try to read some Severance after that. Okay, that's the plan. Currently, time lapses will be happening. The music I use in time lapses will be linked below, just so you know, because that's a thing. Also, because I'm up for 24 hours. I'm on my first cup of coffee. Yes, these are my cups now. I know I complained about these cups so many times to the fish, but they're just the perfect size for iced coffee, okay? There's a lot of sugar in that one, and we don't need to talk about it. Alright, I need to turn up the brightness on this just so that I can see the button. You ready? You ready, fam? I love how you can see the reflection of my light. We're not going to talk about it. Find the button. I guess I'll go read a book. We're ignoring this sound of the fan because it's so humid. That's why my hair looks like this. It's been, I'd like to know, I've read exactly 80 pages in the time. Which way? Why are you? Oh, you're less than 7 hours to read 80 pages. I don't even know how it took me so long. Cause I was over 2 hours in, right? When I took a break I had to record the podcast. I had to inform you. I had to take an hour-long break to do that, and then I took another hour to work out and do yoga, because otherwise my body would hate me for sitting in this chair all day. During that first 2 hours is when I did the time lapse, right? And then I immediately went, and then I ate some food. But that took like 5 minutes to make my second cup of coffee and eat that food. And that second cup of coffee is hitting me very strong right now. I'm probably gonna go make a third. And that's fine. Hopefully it won't destroy my body. But, like, okay, so, like, if you do the math, that's just under 5 hours to read 80 pages. That is actually on par. Because the chapters are very long, and so it feels like it takes, like, a long time to read a chapter, and right? I'm starting to like Lucien more now. I did send a very long message, like, a bunch of messages to the fish, about this, because I was like, are there other people that really don't like this relationship just because of him, right? And so, and I knew that this had under 4-star average rating on Goodreads, so I looked at some lower rated reviews on Goodreads to see, and most of them love him and hate her, and I'm just here just like, what? They're all like, he's a sweetie. So that was literally a phrase used more than once. And all the ones I looked up did say something that happened in the last 3 chapters that really affected that. So I guess there's that I get to look forward to. I did contemplate finishing it, but I'm not going to. It would take me the whole time. Yeah, no, so because of that, I sent a giant-ass list of all things he had done to her, including but not limited to kidnapping. Did learn officially that he forced her into the marriage. Like, this was all part of his plan. Like, did he expect her to kiss him that day and cause them to immediately get married? No, but he did expect, like, people to start talking and then him having to, like, woo her, and then using that to marry her, and then by doing that, like, he basically bought her, like, that's, and she basically says the same thing, and he's like, you right? They're actually having conversations now, right? Now that they're not in London, whenever she does something, I think there's, like, the main point of this, when it started really with this whole thing, whenever she does something or says something, he doesn't immediately go, oh, you're just a naive, well-bred lady, you don't know anything, how dare you, blah, 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 right? And get very aggressive very fast, which scares her for valid fucking reasons. The amount that this man has scared me too, like, I was worried for her safety too, okay? But there's this point where they're walking back to their inn, in Scotland, and he's all like, the sun's not out, why the fuck did you bring a parasol, like, you know, those umbrella things. And she's like, the sun, no matter even if it's not actually out, I burn easily. Would you rather I burn? Right? Like, is it so embarrassing for you? Like, would you rather I burn so that I'm not embarrassing to you? And he's like, oh, she has reasons for the things that she does? Fucking imagine. So after that, he's like started to realize, hey, maybe I should just like talk to her instead of not just assuming. Right? And so because of that, and them actually talking, it's ending up better. But there's still like this whole part where like she's straight up said she can never trust him because of him literally buying her. Right? And she learns that the reason why he bought her is like altruistic. It wasn't all for himself. It was like to better the lives of people that are lesser than and all this stuff. And she's like, cool, glad my life is worth half the amount that it normally is, but also worth protecting all these people. That's cool, that's great, I appreciate that. But you forget that in your attempt to make these people's lives better, you used me wrongly. And while it does make me feel slightly better about it, I can never not be angry about you about this. Like, I can never trust you again because of this. And he's like, right, your anger is valid, I get it. Right? That being said, because they're talking and not just spouting in anger at each other, mostly on his side, right, they, she had some dreams about him, and he was like, ooh, let me take care of that. And then he sucked, after she went back to sleep, he sucked his fingers clean and got himself off. And I mean, that just slightly redeemed him in my eyes. Just a little bit. Because she does not want to do the deed, because she wants to get this marriage annulled. And he's like, can we at least wait until we get to London, okay? Also, the fact that this man has, like, all these plans for her and doesn't tell her, like, he's all like, okay, you want to go to France? We can go to France. I'll take you to any part of France you want to go to. But hasn't told her this. Like, you know how happy that would make her, but he won't be bothered to tell her that, like, she can actually go to France. He'll take her to France. So she's just like biding her time until she can escape him so she can go to France, because that's her dream. He's like, okay, I'll take you to France. But he won't tell her that. And she's helping him out with business stuff, and he's just like, oh my god, a woman with opinions and thoughts that work out for me, her actions working out for me in the long run, that's a possibility. Oh my god. There was one scene, she's trying to buy a camera, and the cover of this book, right? And I really thought with the shopkeeper, every time she asked a question, would look to him and be like, hey, is this what she's asking? And then she would just automatically reply the answer, not being perturbed her at all, that she's just being snuffed and like, right? And he's looking to him instead, and he like notes it's happening and that she isn't perturbed by this, but then like just leaves her there alone with, I guess, somebody he trusts, but like still just leaves her there to go do other business. And like it doesn't click in his head, hey, maybe yeah, she wasn't, they have to live on the streets for years, but like maybe she has a history too, where she's gone through hardships. A possibility, you know. Reminder, her father did very quickly sell her to you, you know. Anyways, that's my thoughts and opinions on the book so far. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna do Severance next. There's not gonna be a time lapse of that one because it's just gonna be me listening to the audiobook while I type up notes. So fun, so interesting. We love it. So I want to do that. I think the audiobook is just short of 10 hours, so I should be able to do it in 4 to 5 hours. God damn it. God, so much. And then I know what episode I'm recording next week, so there's that. Yeah, maybe I'll make more progress in this during this. I don't think so. I think after that I'll read the Mistborn novella, because I want to read that really bad. I want to know what's happening. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I gotta unload the dishwasher and do other things, and my skin is starting to itch because of the heat, and that's fine. Yeah, we go. Why was that so difficult to say? I'm gonna go make my third coffee of the day. Oh boy. Oh. Whoops. I have like an hour left in the audiobook of Severance. In me speed. In my defense, I am also taking notes at the same time. I'm liking it. The way I described it to the fish is it's like Bleeding Earth, which is a book I really didn't like, mixed with Pew, which is a book I liked a lot. It wasn't like my favorite, but I really liked it. A lot of the religious aspects and racism and stuff like that is very Pew-esque, and then it's reminding me of what Bleeding Earth was trying to do. So, good times. It basically follows Candace back and forth between her life before the apocalypse happened and during the apocalypse, trying to survive. Things are happening in the currently during apocalypse stuff, right? She is pregnant, so that has to do with it. But yeah, it's basically her trying to survive, and how once the world ends, like the depravity of humanity type aspect. Also the fact, I did hear about this because of course I learned about this in a Books and Lala vlog, that it came out pre-pandemic, but very much commentary on that type of thing going on. So that's fine. I'm gonna finish it. I am wide awake because third coffee, I'm only like 3/4 of the way through, so it's kicking in. I also made, you can see my tea feel. I have the actual cup in the fridge, but good times. Yeah, I'm gonna finish that, and then I'm gonna read the Secret History, the Mistborn novella, and then I think I'm gonna continue the historical romance because that's all I'm thinking about right now. I know, weird. Will I update you again? I don't know, because I do have my lamp now, but I don't want to bother everyone else, so we'll see. I look hilarious. Anyway, I want you, how far are we in? Let me. Okay, we're over halfway. I got 11 hours. I'm starting to feel it. We're not talking about it. I just finished Severance. It's almost 11 p.m. I just finished Severance. I'm giving it 3 stars for all the reasons I've already given. I can see why Books and Lala liked it, because she's more into the type of like, you don't have to have answers. It's just like slice of life in the apocalypse type thing, which I also enjoy. And I do like dystopian books, and I like the main character. It just didn't hit the way I expected, which is a shame. I did really like it, and I honestly don't know what else it could have done for me to like it even more. Right? Like, it was a good book. The end. That's it. That's the update. You can't blame me. It is almost 11 p.m. and I'm gonna go read a Mistborn book. Technically novella, it's fine. At least I'll make progress in series. Right? That's the plan, and then I want to work on the historical romance. Will I update you? I don't know. Because I think in here at this volume, I'm fine. Like, it's not a big deal. I look insane. Also, I'm sweating so hard right now because I'm not in front of my fan. Anyways, I don't know because of that reason. But we'll see. I may just update you at like 6 in the morning. I may update you when I read that novella. What I do know is you will get a time lapse. I have already planned it. So have fun. I'm gonna go sit in front of a fan and set everything up to do that. That's my Severance update. It's the smallest update ever. The notes, it's like 2 pages. It's not even 2 full pages. It's 1.5 pages. It's 2 giant paragraphs. it's gonna be an interesting episode. It's giving me like where I don't really know how to explain what happens in the book, because technically nothing really happens. There's like one thing that happens like near the end of the book that's like the plot, but there's no real plot. Maybe that's why I don't like it that much. Like, I like it, but it's not like 4 or 5 stars, because I'm a plot person, not a character person. That's why. But like with I had a difficult time recording that episode, despite the fact that I really liked that book, because like there's no plot. It's just things. It is just this happens and this happens and this happens, and it's just characters dealing with this dystopian world and existing. And P was kind of like that, but he's more set up in a way that was easier to explain. Right. But I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting episode of the podcast, that's for sure. The fish is going to read it, I think. We'll see. That's it. That's there we go. I said more words about it. Look at me go. Progress. Anyways, me novella. I don't. Ooh. 19 hours in. Okay. That's fine. That means I have 5 hours. Yeah, that's about expected. Mistborn Secret History. Spoilers for especially the first 3. Mistborn Era 1, but in general Mistborn. For my review of this. First off, rating, in case you don't want to know what happens. 4.5 stars. The only other one that I've really liked is the Aloe of Law. Is that the first Waxman one? Yeah. Good times. Spoiler stuff. This is, why can't I remember his name? I literally just finished this. Kelsier, I was right. Also, I miscalculated how many pages this is by like 52 pages. Whoops. Anyways, this is in Kelsier's POV after he dies in the first Mistborn book. Basically, the original trilogy in his POV after he dies. Everything that happens, the fighting the god, all that stuff. Which means it's very lore heavy. Although I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is the first one in canonical order that mentions the universe by Cosmere, and also confirms there are multiple planets. It's like a whole actual universe. Okay, sure, Jan, sure. Fun times. I did almost cry when Vin dies and Kelsier sees her for the first time since like before this book, right? Like actually is able to talk to her, and he calls her his daughter and mourns the life they could have been if him and his wife had just like gone to the city and been able to find her and taken her in and her be their daughter. And I'm fine. Anyways, minor spoilers for Maids in Mourning, the one that I just finished, which is why I wanted to immediately read this, because the end of that one was someone with spikes in their eyes, or one in one eye, with his arm scars from getting out of the pits, right? The thing that he's famous for, right? Telling people to survive, and he's called the survivor in the history, right? And so I was like, wait a minute, this bitch? What's that bitch doing? He died in book 1, right? Yeah, it's this bitch. It's heavily into that that spook who is just like the sea urchin, what, this street kid who helps him out in like the first Mistborn book. Big fan of Kelsier. Is now king after Vin, and is his name Elend, dies. Yeah, he becomes king, which is interesting, right? And they start communicating, and Kelsier's like, hey, I help you get immortality, you help me come back to the land of actual living. Is the basic like setup at the end, and then it goes into, at the end of each of these there's like a postscript of like a page and a half, Brandon Sanderson just talking about the writing experience and whatnot, which he confirms from the very beginning. Yeah, Kelsier was gonna come back. Is he gonna be in the 7th one? Also, the way that the postscript, it sounded like the plan was to have 3 trilogies for Mistborn. I don't know if there's another series, another era of Mistborn planned, right? But there's 4 books instead of 3 in era 2 in the Wax and Wayne. Was he in that one? I would be very excited. But yeah, he states that he put hints in throughout the original trilogy that he never does what he's supposed to do. Cough, cough, like dying. And then also in a Wax and Wayne, I mean, the most obvious one being the end of Bands of Mourning in that epilogue, right? So that would like make sense for the next full-length book to include him. I want it to happen. I want it to happen. Anyways, it was good. But this is how much I read of this bad boy. Why am I like this? Anyways, yeah, reading this at midnight, great decision. I was so living my best life. So it's so lore heavy and magic system heavy, and like mostly about the gods and the universe in general. And the way I ingested it all, and it's stuck in here, and it kept me awake because I was so invested. Good soup. Anyways, I'm gonna spend the rest of the night, I'm so wide awake right now, so I guess I'll read this bad boy because I want to make progress in it, because I really do want to read it now. Because who am I? Why am I like this? Remember when I downloaded the sequel to Crave, the audiobook of that, just so I could read it for this? Guess what's not happening, I guess. I don't know. I just finished book. I haven't checked the timer yet. It should be within the 24, maybe a little bit over. Okay, it's 9 minutes under. I'm counting it. Because it'll be fun by the time I finish up doing this vlog. It'll have been 24 hours. Hello, hi. Especially if you count my intro, because that was like 7 minutes. I finished book. I have thoughts and opinions about book. I'm trying to put the dust jacket back on. Book. I read it. Hear me out. The first, like, a little over a third, somewhere between a third and half, I didn't like. And then they started communicating. They went away from London. They were in Scotland for a bit. And then there was like a good chunk until like the last 5 chapters where I was having a good time. And then they returned back to not communicating. And we'll talk about it in a minute, because I did mention in the middle of the night about how there were reviews that were 2 stars and we're all like, go Lucian, how dare she do that to him. I have thoughts and opinions about that, very strong ones. Anyways, things happen, they fight, they stop communicating. She runs back home, and then is kidnapped. He's almost shot saving her. They reconcile, and then she goes off to France to live her dream. She goes and actually fucking does it. The thing that I wanted her to do the whole book, she does it. She's like, hey, we're getting a separation, because I need to figure out who I am as a person outside of being controlled. And if I don't do that, I will forever blame you for the way we got married, which is valid. She makes very valid points, including the fact that he's never apologized for it. I didn't even notice that until she said it. And he's like, oh shit, well, I love you, and then grants her the separation, and she says, I love you, remember that always. And she does tell him, when she's like, hey, I want the separation, that her dream was to be like wooed and have this great romance and whatnot, but like she couldn't have it. He stole all that from her, right? And someone to like get down on one knee and like profess his love by proposing and all this stuff. And so she goes off to France, becomes a teacher, an art teacher. I think she's gonna invent colored photography. And then he shows up one day and he's like, hey, if you're still single, like, I wouldn't mind, wooing you, taking out for lunch. And she's down, and then, she has her, what is it? I want to say Castorium, I can't speak words, museum thing, her art show, her gallery of the work, that she did, in Scotland, the photograph she took, right? And so she opens that. That's the epilogue. He has proposed again, they're getting married again, and all this stuff. Also, she's like opened a business that helps helps women create businesses and whatnot, like the thing where they finance people, right? Finance women trying to open businesses, right? That's a thing that's also happening. And yeah, she's just like living her life. Okay, let's talk about the issue with the fight. So I of course didn't go into deep of those reviews that were like, hey, the last like 3 to 5 chapters, those chapters, go Lucien, we hate Hattie, how dare she do it to him, right? I didn't go into detail of reading them because, like, spoilers. I will tell you what happens. There is a cave-in at the mines, right? Some people almost die, but they get them out in time. They dig them out in time. It's a real miracle. It gives Lucien PTSD flashbacks to when his younger sister, and his mother both died in the mines, which was caused by Rutland's false inability to like run his own mines, false promises, illegally doing things at the mines, and that's why he hates Rutland so much, and that's why he goes against Rutland so much. I hear my dog so loud. You coming up? Oh, you bringing me a toy? Oh, do you need to be spotted? What? Welcome back from the dog intermission. I did pull up these stats on Storygraph. Hey, in the time I reached 24 hours. Stats on Storygraph to see, so I can tell you exactly how much I read. What's happening? Oh, he has PTSD flashbacks of seeing it because Rutland's mistreatments, malpractices, that's the word I was trying to find the whole time, at the mines, right, caused his family's death, which is why he hates Rutland, and is basically destroying Rutland's life and trying to fix up all these mines because they were run by Rutland, and he doesn't want the same thing to happen again to anybody else, right? And at one point, Rutland does kill himself because of this shit, so that's fine. Now, part of that has to do with the fact that Hattie had him promise to at least try and not, like, try to let this go. Try to let the Rutland thing go. The thing to know, she doesn't know the extent. Like, as far as she knows, his family died in an accident, and Rutland did own the mines that he worked in as a child, and she understands that aspect, but she's like, please, I don't like how you are, right? When it comes to this. But then everything happens with the mine, and people almost dying, and it gives him PTSD flashbacks. So he basically calls in all of her debts, and so then he kills himself, and she sees it in the papers, and she freaks out. And she's like, oh my god, how could you do this? You promised me. And this is like his third chance of having her trust that he's broken, right? Because there's the first with the definitely tricking her into marriage and then buying her behind her back, and then there was the trusting her with her body, eventually getting to that point in the relationship, and then trusting him to keep his promises, right? And so she's all like, I don't know how I could trust you anymore. I don't think I can't trust you with my safety, all this stuff, right? This is the third act breakup. And part of it, the complaints, I'm pretty sure, if I look at these reviews, because they're all like, Team Lucien, is that she ran away and left him because he had a PTSD flashback. One, she didn't know that, because he doesn't communicate his fucking feelings, and she does bring this up to his best friend when she's like, hey, this is why, to Hattie. And when she brings it up to her, she literally laughs, because like, yeah, the only reason I know this shit is because he was so drunk that he doesn't remember that he told me, right? Like, yeah, that's a thing. He doesn't talk about his emotions, and so it's not until at the very end when he does talk about his emotions and that he loves her and that he is trying to be what she wants and not trap her and actually apologizes for things, that they can be in a healthy relationship. Hear me out. But here's the thing. In every fight they have, up until like the point where like they're actually good, and then from this fight onwards, every time he calls her small-minded, just a girl, lovely as like just a haunt, naive, all those types of things. You know, the things that her family called her, to look down upon her, right? So he calls her just a girl who understands nothing and all this stuff, and so she's like, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving, bye. Right? Like, everyone freaks out because she leaves him in his trauma response, right? But doesn't know that he awakens her trauma response. And later on, when he comes, like, when they talk about it after the fact, after the whole kidnapping thing, and whatnot, it's clear he recognizes. Yeah, he's like, yeah, this is what people called you and your family and all this stuff. At one point, he does call her a brilliant woman because she like connected dots, and she's like, I know, I'm so weird, and he's like, no, you're brilliant, you have a brilliant mind, right? So like, he's all like, yeah, I know that this is how you've always been viewed, and then she points out to the full extent of how much it affects her, and he's all like, yeah, I get it. Doesn't apologize. From that point on, we never see him call her any of those things ever again, demeaning her ever again. But like, it's just ignored that, like, because her trauma isn't literally having to work in coal mines as a child and watching his sister and mother get drowned, because another man wanted money, then her trauma isn't worth it. And it's upsetting me. It's making me angry at those reviews. So that's fun. Things to know. Up until that point where they started communicating, it was a 2-star. At that fight at the end where she leaves, it was a 2-star. The point with the kidnapping and after that, everything after that was 4 stars, because they're like communicating, having a good time, actually healthy relationship stuff. Like, she goes away to grow as a person. She's like, I recognize that I will, unless if I like learn to grow on my own from the fact that you trapped me, I will always hold it against you, and it will come out at the worst of times, and I won't be able to control it, and I don't want to be that type of person, right? Valid. And then in the like 100 pages in the middle where they actually communicated that I really liked was also 4 stars. There was like a little bit here that I liked, and there was also a lot of here that I didn't like, and so I'm going with 3. I did contemplate right after I finished it giving it a 3.5, because once he returns home and the whole kidnapping plot happens and it's all like high stakes, right? And then they make up, I'm like, okay, Yeah, I'm like it again. It's literally just the way that they fight, the way that he gets aggravated, so then he purposely uses her triggers to shut her down, right? That's not my favorite. That's not my favorite, hear me out. And that's fine. So I'm giving it 3 stars. I really like a Rogue of One Zone, and it's sad that I didn't like this one as much. Also, there was a lot about politics, both about, and philosophy, about like wages and lower class, working class citizens versus working up, and like how do you, like, if you've either been born in money or work yourself up to money from that, how do you like deal with that while also trying to help out those people. And then also on top of that, more of the women's suffrage movement stuff. I did like the part where he said he was going to already plan to like put everything he could, including blackmail, to help out with that, because he saw it upset her. But then she like gives this whole winded explanation on why it affects her so much, and he's like, okay, well, I'm like, it actually says that he's gonna do it, and she says only in the good ways, and he says and the bad, or in the dirty, and she's like, good. Yeah, I found that cute. Okay, like they had their moments. I liked him at times. Okay. Anyways, 3 stars. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. What did I read? I know just short of 10 hours of audiobook with Severance. I did feel bad that I've only read 3 books in this whole entire thing. At like 3 a.m. and then I realized, hey, wait a second, bitch. They're all slow-paced. This one is the only one that's not slow-paced, because this one is high fantasy, heavy lore, right? Severance is like dystopian literary horror thing, so it's slow-paced in that way. Despite the fact that I even had the audiobook, right? It's still pretty slow-paced. Like, it's a nearly 10-hour audiobook for a 200-page book. Right? That's what I'm saying. And then this one is 400 pages. And it is labeled as medium pace, but I was slogging through it for a good chunk. One, because it's slow burn. 2, I didn't like him for a lot of it, so I didn't want to read it. And 3, sometimes the way that Evie Dunmore writes, I have to like reread sentences multiple times. So that's the thing, and I realized that, and that's fine. Usually I read faster paced books and more audiobooks. Alas, so there was that nearly 10 hours of audiobook, and then yesterday it was 124 pages. 80 of that was this. So 80 of this, 44 of this. That sounds about right. And then 261 more pages today, which, if I, technically it's more, because my copy of this, because it's mass market, is actually 177, but Storycraft has it as 160, so it's technically more, but we'll ignore that. Let me do math real quick. 116 of this. Yeah, I think that's how math works. So 100 and, is that a 5 or a 6? 145 more pages of this to finish it. Did I read 145 pages of this in like 3-4 hours to finish it? Somehow. I don't know how. I was speed reading near the end because the kidnapping adrenaline. Anyways, that's that. That's a 24-hour vlog. I am wide awake still, so I'm gonna make a coffee, and this is still going. I should stop it. I'm gonna go make a coffee, and then I'm gonna edit some things, because if I'm wide awake, I might as well edit, right? Hello, hi. I ended the vlog 9 a.m. yesterday. It is 9 p.m. now. The next day, yeah. And I am pretty sure I will keep the update, but I'm pretty sure that the outro is unintelligible because I was kind of delirium sleep deprived levels. Is it kind of funny? Yes. Am I gonna do the outro now? Yes. I did like to give the quick update that I was awake for a total of 37 hours because I stayed up past that. I was just gonna like do some editing while I had the adrenaline of, oh my god, I did it, right? But then I streamed some. Then I edited the podcast episode. I did some yoga and some other things, and right outside in a hammock, had a whole body allergic reaction at some point. Had a wild time, went to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and I laid down for like 5 seconds and closed my eyes thinking I was gonna put my headphone and listen to music, and I was out. For just short of 10 hours straight, no waking up. It was beautiful. It was great. The best sleep I've had in a long time. Kind of hilarious. But yeah, that's that. That's this vlog. If you stuck this long, thanks. There's 2 books I talked a lot about and 1 book I didn't talk much about. I think Severance is 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes total for that whole book. It gives me an idea of how long the podcast episode is gonna be, I guess. I assumed it was gonna be a quick one, with the way it was written. But yeah, that's that. I read the 3 books, which I am slightly upset about the fact that it was only 3, but they are all slow to medium pace, so I'm accepting it. Oh, and that's that. That's everything. I believe the next, I was a podcast episode, nope, vlog should be the weekend reading vlog of September. Fun fact, when you see this, I will be there. I will be away for the last few days, so that's fun. I'll be like returning home in like 3 days after this goes up. Very sad, I know. Actually, I think it's the Tuesday before the next vlog or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. That's this. Me promoting things here. Fridays nights is streams. Upload onto my YouTube. I think it's the one for this week is actually really funny, because there's a part where I protect my husband Harvey in Stardew Valley. And now it's a known thing about me. I am now Mrs. Harvey, thank you very much. Other things on Fridays is the podcast. It is linked below. Amongst the YouTube channel, there's also the Spotify down there, and there may be, I should check if the Apple Podcast link is down there. It should be. I don't know if it is, but it should be, because it's also there, because I put it there. And then like, go to the Fishes Instagram, it's linked below. They are making the thumbnail, but normally they're linked below even if they don't make the thumbnail. And just like go to their Instagram and wish them a happy birthday, because this comes out less than a week after their birthday. So go wish them a happy birthday from me, the flower. And that's okay. Thank you for coming to the video. I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna go continue rewatching Twilight with a bunch of friends. It's an interesting time. Yeah, until the next video.